all of your favorite recipes. Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food. Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Simply Food by TY, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to make my jerk shrimp fried rice. But before we jump too far into the video, I'm going to give you guys a quick recap on how to make the perfect jerk sauce. So let's get into it. In a large blender or food processor, if you have a big enough one, you want to add in roughly about 4 to 5 full stalks of green onion, a nice hefty chunk of thyme, 3 bay leaves. Then you're also going to add in 1 medium-sized onion, a nice chunk of garlic that's been peeled, of course, about 4 cloves of garlic. And then we're going to start to add in, the good stuff. We're going to add in a half a tablespoon of whole Jamaican allspice, which are pimento seeds, the Scotch bonnet peppers. We're adding in 2 whole Scotch bonnets, stem and all. Then we're going to add in 1/3 of a cup of Worcestershire. We're going to add in a half a cup of low sodium soy sauce. I know, right? Sounds interesting, but I'm telling you, it's bomb. You're going to add in a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. We're also going to add in a half a teaspoon of ground cloves. We're going to add in 1 tablespoon of the all-purpose seasoning, as well as 1 tablespoon of the chicken seasoning. And then we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of the flavor enhancer, or you can add in a little more if you would like. And then we're also going to add in 1 tablespoon of that tamarind concentrate. And lastly, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay, you guys, so you have everything that you need to make your jerk paste. Now, when you're blending this, you want to do it so that, it still has some chunks in it. You don't want to blend it down to like a complete water substance, if that makes any sense. And you'll get a better clue of the texture in a moment. But what you see me pouring into this measuring cup right now is liquid gold. Do you hear me? This works amazing on seafood, pork, whatever you want. And as you can see, it makes a little over 2 cups. Whatever you have left over, you can use to make jerk barbecue sauce, and you can also freeze it. And you can also keep this in the refrigerator for up to about 2 weeks. But I prefer to actually freeze mine once I kind of know that I'm done, working with it. So what we're working on right now is just breaking down some onions. Now, I know not a lot of people like onions in their fried rice. Strangely enough, I've kind of just recently become a fan of fried onions, and I'm going to show you guys how I make mine so that I enjoy them. So I would say just give it a try. I'm also going to be adding in roughly about 4 to 5 nice sized cloves of garlic to this recipe as well. Now, if you want to go, like the hibachi style, or at the Japanese steakhouse or something like that, where they add the garlic butter, you can absolutely do that as well. I would highly suggest either making yourself some garlic butter from scratch at home, which is roasting off some garlic and adding it to butter, or getting that Kerrygold, okay? Kerrygold garlic and herb butter is everything. So as you can see, the color of this jerk sauce is a bit darker because this is actually the jerk sauce that I made for my jerk chicken about 4 or 5 days prior to making this. So the seasonings have really had time to kind of really, gel together. Now, I will say, when you are using jerk seasoning for seafood, it is extremely important to remember that you do not need as much as if you were cooking with poultry, okay? This 1.5 tablespoons that I used is going to go a long way, okay? You can always add more of the seasoning to the fried rice later, but don't go overboard with your shrimp, or you're just honestly going to kill off any taste of seafood at all, to be honest. Now, to my wok, I'm adding in roughly, I would say about 3/4 of a cup of vegetable oil. You really want to make sure you get that oil in there because a lot of it's going to get soaked up relatively soon. But as you can see, I am really, almost in a sense, deep frying these onions here because they're kind of really submerged in this oil. But if you guys have never worked with a wok before, it is honestly the best thing to use when you are trying to prepare fried rice. In all honesty, it really is, okay? Once those onions have become, you know, kind of translucent, you can go ahead and start to add in your shrimp. We are in, you know, the last few steps of this recipe. Is not really hard to make at all. What I will say at this point is, as you can see, that steam just drastically dropped down because the temperature from the shrimp lowered the temperature of the wok. Now, a key in making sure that you have crispy fried rice is that that wok has to remain nice and hot at all times. So a good way to do that is to make sure that you're taking out some of these ingredients a few moments before you're adding it to the pan so that it can almost get to be about room temperature. If you're not able to do that, that's completely fine. Just make sure that you crank up the heat on that wok so that it remains nice and hot. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of water that is going to come off of those peas and carrots, which is totally fine because I used frozen peas and carrots. That was roughly about 1.5 cups to 2 cups worth. But I cranked up the temperatures so that we can really, you know, kill off some of that excess water and make sure that we're keeping our wok, nice and hot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on the eggs. Now, of course, eggs are also something else that's completely optional. You know, that's one of the best things, honestly, about fried rice. You can add whatever you want. Bean sprouts, mushrooms, chicken, beef. You can kind of do whatever you want. I will say, if you're going to add egg, as you can see, I pushed everything over to one side, and I'm just letting these eggs, you know, roughly cook, or roughly fry up, I should say, on the opposite side so that they can kind of form. If you just pour those eggs over top of the stuff that's already in it, all it's simply going to do is coat the food, and it is not going to turn out the way you want to, okay? So please make sure you wait until those eggs at least start to form up before you incorporate it in with the rest of this. If you're worried about it, cook your eggs in a separate pan, honey. That's totally fine, okay? Especially if you're not used to doing it. Now that the temperature of the skillet, you know, is getting back up to where we want it to be, we can go ahead and add in our rice. Now, this is long grain rice that I made. I cooked off about 3 cups of rice because I'm going to be doing something else with the extra rice. But to this particular pot, I added in, I would say probably about 3 cups of cooked rice. Okay, so there's a difference. I cooked 3 cups of raw rice, which you all know doubles if not triples, okay? What I've just added to the wok was 3 cups of cooked rice. And as you can see, that's made quite a lot of fried rice here. Once again, I would definitely make sure that you have your rice out so that it can get to be almost about room temperature. If I did not mention this earlier in the video, the key to fried rice, you guys, is to make sure that you cook that rice hours beforehand. If not hours beforehand, you must make sure that it's cold. You cannot make fried rice with hot rice. It has to be cold, okay? What we're adding in right now is about 3/4 cup of soy sauce. I'm using low sodium soy sauce. And I'm also going to add in about 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Now, for a lot of people who are concerned about overcooking the rice or not even knowing how to make rice to begin with, honey, go down to the old Chinese shop, get yourself about 2 of the liters of their white rice, put it in the fridge, and then whenever you're ready to make it, you'll have perfect rice ready to go, okay? Don't stress yourself. But just remember that the rice must be cold. It must be cold. It's the only way that it will work, okay? Now you got to do, you know, if you want, you can throw in some bean sprouts, top it with some sesame seed, check it for seasoning. If you would like a little bit more salt, by all means add some salt. I added in just a little plop of butter there just because I like to add that extra little bit of creaminess. And that's really it, you guys. This is your jerk shrimp fried rice. If you really want a more pungent flavor of that jerk seasoning, add in about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of the jerk seasoning in these last stages. Look, I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food.